In the last video, we saw that Jinwoo visited the Hunter Association, where Go Gun-hee told him about the upcoming Jeju Island raid. After that, they visited the gym, where all the S-rank hunters were present. That is where we were introduced to the guild master of the top guild in Korea, Ma Dongwook, the leader of the Fame Guild. We also got introduced to Japan's strongest S-rank hunters. So now let's see what happens next in the story. Jinwoo noticed Goto Ryuji from a distance. He was tall and smartly dressed guy, with a neatly trimmed mustache. Shimizu saw Jinwoo standing with Go Gun-hee and asked Hanakawa about him. Hanakawa mentioned that he was Sung Jinwoo, a hunter who had recently become an S-rank hunter. Goto, who had not sensed Jinwoo's approach, found this unsettling. Despite looking directly at Jinwoo, Goto still couldn't perceive his presence, leading him to suspect that Jinwoo must be an exceptionally skilled assassin-type hunter. However, Hanakawa clarified that Jinwoo was a mage-type hunter, which seemed impossible to Goto, until Hanakawa confirmed that it was officially verified. Lim Taegyu recognized Jinwoo as the one who had recently disrupted Minsung's debut. Cha Hain, sensing the sudden shift in the atmosphere, deduced that it was because of Jinwoo. Ishida called out to Kei and mentioned that Jinwoo was Korea's 10th S-rank hunter, but Kei told her not to talk to him, as he was feeling like throwing up from being surrounded by so many S-rank hunters. Kei also noticed that Cha Hain also had a sharp and sensitive nose like him, which she only seemed to cover with a handkerchief. This made Kei think that Hain was a few tiers below him. He also considered starting a conversation with her, but hesitated, fearing she might think he was hitting on her. In the end, he regretted not learning some Korean. The scene shifted, and the fight between Yoonho and Dongwook was still ongoing. While watching the match, Hanakawa asked Goto Ryuji if these hunters were considered South Korea's strongest, adding that they seemed mediocre at best. Ryuji asked if she really think that. Hanakawa explained that after observing his raids from the sidelines for some time, she was no longer impressed by other S-rank hunters. However, Ryuji disagreed, saying there was one notable hunter among them while looking at Cha Hain. He believed that she, along with Chairman Go, would give their best hunters a run for their money. At that moment, another hunter approached Hanakawa and addressed her as Miss Interpreter. He asked if she truly believed that South Korea's S-rank hunters were mediocre, and asked her if she really have assumed that they didn't understand what she was saying. He also mentioned that he had studied Japanese in high school, making it his second language. His companion, who called him boss, cheered for him. Hanakawa was curious about who the man was, so his companion Yuntai proudly introduced him as Park Jong-soo, an A-rank hunter and the guild master of the Knights Guild. Hanakawa admitted she hadn't heard of him before, which irritated Yuntai. He explained that Park Jong-soo is an A-rank, not an S-rank, and suggested that might be the reason she didn't know him. He also explained that their guild was one of the 5 major guilds in South Korea and had the most A-rank hunters. However, Yong-soo tapped Yuntae to remind him to stop glazing too much. Hanakawa asked if they would be participating in the Jeju Island raid. As to her knowledge, only S-rank hunters were allowed. Ryuji chimed in, asking what Hanakawa and the 2 hunters were talking about. Yuntai immediately defended Jong-soo, explaining that he was part of the defense team which will be in charge of blocking the island. Hanakawa simply responded by saying, "Good to hear it," adding that it wouldn't be wise to assign any important task to an A-rank hunter. Ryuji then told Hanakawa that if she was being discourteous, she needed to stop immediately. However, Jong-soo, unwilling to back down, told her to knock it off, reminding her that she was just an interpreter tagging along and knew nothing about the situation. Hanakawa, visibly triggered by his remark, challenged Jong-soo, asking if he wanted to test her skills. She then introduced herself as an A-rank hunter and mocked him, asking that if couldn't take on a mere interpreter. With that, she removed her suit, revealing a powerful aura. However, Jong-soo had no interest in fighting her and simply told her to stop criticizing others. He was about to walk away when Hanakawa suddenly asked if he was a non-combatant hunter, implying that this might be the reason he was refusing to fight her. This remark irritated Jong-soo even further. Jinwoo, who had been observing the situation, thought it looked like a fight was about to break out between 2 A-rank hunters, one from Japan and one from South Korea. Watching beside Jinwoo, Jong-un remarked that things were about to get interesting. Jong-soo then accepted the challenge, but proposed that they set rules for the match, arguing that it was better than fighting like bulls. The rule was simple: the first person to grab the opponent's wrist would win, while the first to have their wrist caught would lose. Hanakawa quickly realized that even if she threw punches at Jong-soo, the fight would end the moment he grabbed her wrist. She then commented that it seemed they would have to play mind games with each other. As she asked Jong-soo if he was ready, she noticed him standing calmly at a distance with one hand in his pocket, emitting a fierce aura. Jong-soo reassured her that she didn't need to worry, as he wouldn't take his hand out unless it was to grab her wrist. Hanakawa thought to herself that he must be confident in his speed. She then declared that she was ready. Without hesitation, Hanakawa charged at Jong-soo and unleashed a flurry of rapid attacks, all of which Jong-soo easily dodged. Hanakawa was completely determined to wipe the smug look off on Jong-soo's face, but suddenly, with a swift kick, Jong-soo managed to knock her hand away, stopping her onslaught. He then commented that just to be clear, he didn't actually hit her. It was just a little kick, and not a real attack. Trying to hide her frustration, Hanakawa sarcastically apologized, saying she was having a hard time understanding Jong-soo's accent. She then added that he was looking lame, trying to act cool in those ripped pants. Seizing the movement of distraction, Hanakawa immediately rushed at Jong-soo. However, before her attack could land, Jong-soo swiftly grabbed her wrist and mocked her, saying she was too slow. Hanakawa was utterly shocked, unable to comprehend how it had happened. As Jong-soo held her wrist, he noticed her trembling and remarked that she is the type of hunter who hides behind tanks and had practically no real combat experience against other hunters. He explained that in Korea, they often ran into troublemakers, which meant they sometimes had to fight other hunters, and in the worst-case scenario, they even have to kill them. He then added that unlike magic beasts, human movements are far more unpredictable. If someone failed to anticipate their opponent's actions, they were as good as dead. If he had been wielding a sword, he would have already sliced Hanakawa's throat. Goto Ryuji stepped forward and thanked them for the exciting match. He then turned to Hanakawa, instructing her to relay his proposal to everyone. In the interest of fostering trust between the two countries, Ryuji suggested that the S-rank hunters should spar using the same rules as the match between Jong-soo and Hanakawa. Chairman Go stepped in, agreeing with the proposal and saying that it sounded good. However, he added that mage-type and non-combatant hunters should be excluded, as it would be difficult to determine a winner. Baek Yoon-ho then suggested additional rules. If a hunter touched their opponent's wrist or back, or even knocked them down, it would be an automatic win. He also proposed that multiple hunters should compete against each other instead of having one-on-one matches. After Hanakawa translated Yoon-ho's words to Ryuji, he considered the new rules. He realized that knocking out a single opponent could shift the tide of the fight, and that assassin-type hunters would have a significant advantage. Despite this, he agreed, saying that everything sounded good. The hunters representing South Korea would be S-rank hunters Baek Yoon-ho, Ma Dong-wook, Cha Hein, and Lim Tae-gyu. The Japanese side would feature S-rank hunters Tanaka Kenzo, Hoshino Minoru, Kumamoto Atsushi, and Tawada Kanai.